one of my resolutions this year is to be more adamant about documenting my life. And I know that shouldn't have to come with a sacrifice of intentionality with my shots and how I choose to document that, but I feel like I give too much priority to the cinematic aspect of documenting rather than the intention of why I'm doing this to begin with. And so I'm learning that as I'm editing this now, actually, because I thought I had quite a bit of footage for the entire week. I mean, there's a checklist of things that I'm gonna go over at the end of this, but pretty much I thought I had a lot of footage, and I ended up cutting it down to pretty much 8 minutes of the week. But again, there's kind of a checklist of reasons and such that I'll go over at the end. But either way, I'm learning as I go. So this is the first of, I hope, Lord willing, 52 videos that I do. But we'll get cracking. But I'm sorry if this is darker. I'm looking at it right now while I'm recording the voiceover, and it's a lot darker than I thought. I forgot to take the ND filter off of this, so hopefully I can color grade this to be better. But it's me just packing my bags up before my commute to work. As you'll see right now, I actually like spending this time on the phone with my girlfriend because our weeks are hectic, and so being able to spend that little bit of time together is actually pretty cool.
But I have like cutting boards, for example, like those could easily grow molds. I've never sitting in the box with other items, so even if I remove it, there might still be moisture from it,
To eliminate your worry, whatever that costs to do, I think it's worth it.
I think just silica packets and accurate saran wrap on bigger items.
But yeah, so after spending that time on the phone during my commute, it was really cool. But I'm getting into the office and going through my emails because I was actually out sick the Friday before, so the second, which is one of the reasons that kind of bleed into why this week wasn't as best as I intended it to be. But I'll get into it at the end of it, like I said. But I actually, yeah, so I'll spend like a good hour and a half kind of settling in and opening up my emails before I do any deep work, and then I'll go on for a walk. It's actually me pointing to the snow caps after like 4+ weeks of fog and rain in the valley. It was kind of cool seeing all that. But yeah, so I like doing that, kind of settling in and before getting in deep work. So this is fun. This is like the first full week of me getting into a rhythm post graduation, so it was pretty cool. Feeling not having that stress in the back.
Yeah. They get paid good for it though.
Got a little cut out there doing this voiceover, but yeah, I stopped at Costco, got some Frosted Flakes. After heading to the gym, I didn't record much more after work because there just wasn't anything really to write home about after that. But yeah, so as I was saying, it was cool getting that first full week of not feeling the stress of school post graduation. So it's at this point in time, I still didn't feel truly graduated because our diplomas or our graduation applications hadn't been actually confirmed, which I think is kind of a backwards practice, but I digress. We shouldn't walk the stage unless we're certain that we're graduating, but again, I digress.
Oh, he doesn't have any shield. I'm gonna just get him. Good shit.
Quack.
Get away.
What's not? What'd he say?
I don't know.
A quack. I got a quack spider on me.
But yeah, there was a clip of me and my the intern at the office playing Arc Raiders, but I like winding down with that. And obviously, like, one of the last things that I do is just journal and listen to some music probably in the background. But this is actually the next day, so I woke up a little bit later than I was anticipating. But it's okay. Get my breakfast already, so I usually have like this really high fiber, high protein yogurt and some boiled eggs to go along with it. And then you'll see right now that I have a couple apples in there that I use as a pre-workout. I have a little tahini bottle at my office, so I'll get my electrolytes and fiber and carbs in all in one. It's pretty cool. But here's me going on another walk. I try to do one walk per day minimum for Bella, you know, because she's just stuck inside most of the day. So yeah, I like to change up my commute sometimes because, you know, I read somewhere that, you know, our neural pathways pretty much get a really good exercise of us kind of not following the same routines and the same habits over and over and over again. So this is a different route that I took from the day before. And you know, it's always nice kind of switching it up, kind of keep yourself on your toes and such. So yeah, but as is going to be very apparent coming up soon, I really fell off with how I recorded anything. So that was actually all I recorded for that day, apparently. That was Tuesday, so this is Wednesday morning. This is me getting ready for my run. So yeah, I remember thinking, and I have it jotted down in one of my journals, but I remember thinking like, why record if it's kind of the same thing over and over again? And see, no, I shouldn't think that way. I should do it and be adamant about it. That's where that comes from. I should be adamant about recording my day to day. And if I'm reflecting as I am now editing this and seeing that, okay, there's a bit of redundancy here, there's a bit of just kind of falling into the same habits, the same practices, the same routine every single day, then I should make some changes about it, you know? And so, especially now that I'm graduated, I feel like monotony is going to set in and be kind of a silent presence in my life now. And that terrifies me, but I should be proactive about it, you know, and not wait for it to catch up to me. So nonetheless, so this is the second run of the week that I had. Like I said, I forgot to record Monday morning, so this is Wednesday morning. Like I had mentioned a little bit earlier, I had been sick pretty much the entire past week before this, so the week leading into New Year's, and I was still a little bit congested. I mean, I had to stop like maybe twice just to, you know, snort out a little bit of boogers. And it was, thank God I didn't record that. But yeah, so I'm still kind of battling it at this point in time, and it didn't feel so great. But again, here's me on my walk with Bella. I, again, didn't have much more to record after this. I think, I mean, looking at the timeline right now, I think this is actually the last bit of thing that I have for Thursday. Yeah. And so this is, I mean, for Wednesday, this is Thursday. I went on another run the day after, the morning after. So this is Thursday morning now. And so as you can see, I didn't even leave my neighborhood with any recordings that I had. And so, you know, this is me at the end of the run though. So I'm glad I got that done, but I'll kind of circle back to this right now. But anyway, as I'm saying, I didn't record much because I wasn't, I feel like I'm all over the place right now. Just let me get situated. Hold on. So, like I said, I was a bit, I don't know why the camera. All right. So I was a bit sick. I was quite sick the week before. And so I don't know if I didn't give myself the proper time to recover and rest. But after that last clip, so that was Thursday morning, I was really sweaty because I was doing a sub-threshold run that Thursday morning. I wanted to test my fitness coming back from being sick, and a little bit of ego was involved, or a lot of bit of ego was involved, because my VO2 dipped 1 point, so I wanted to bring it back up one, which I did successfully, but I think at what cost, right? So today is Sunday, the 11th, and so that was Thursday, the 8th. So I didn't record anything for Friday, and I didn't record anything yesterday, the 10th. I have been like incredibly sick the past 2 days. I mean, Thursday night was the worst. No. Friday night was the worst. So again, I'm kind of jumping all over the place. Sorry, but so Thursday morning after my run, I'm incredibly sweaty, and what I should have done was hop in the shower immediately, take off the wet clothes, hop in the shower, a warm shower. You know, get not basically to not allow my body to get cold. I didn't do that. I took off my wet clothes immediately coming into the house, but I changed into a t-shirt. I didn't even like dry myself off. I just changed into a t-shirt, and I was just kind of chilling for a little bit. I was a bit fatigued, and I could kind of feel my back get cold, which I knew in retrospect I should have taken that as a much bigger red flag than I did in the moment. But in the moment, I was just like, everything's gonna be all right. So that was like I said, Thursday morning. The rest of the day, I just felt a bit off. My throat started kind of feeling a bit itchy, a bit scratchy. Not terrible, but I was like, okay, this is not what I was feeling this whole week, because I like I said, this whole week I was pretty much at the end of the cold or the flu that I had the week prior. And so I was like, I didn't feel this at all this whole week. Is it all of my working out and everything that's coming into this, and it's culminating in me now? Or was it this little bit of time here that I did something that I shouldn't have? Nonetheless, doesn't matter. So Thursday night, my throat is just hurting. Like it's kind of the worst sore throat that I've had in a while. I mean, I hadn't been sick for, like a year before that. So it caught me off guard. I'm like, sore throats aren't supposed to feel this way. I felt really off. I felt really bad. And so that Thursday night sucked. Friday, I woke up again with a sore throat. It didn't feel any better. So it kind of just stayed the same, if not a bit worse. And so it hurt to talk. It just kind of hurt to swallow anything at all. And so kind of the science behind having a sore throat. Obviously, there's irritation and inflammation in your throat. I only know this because my girlfriend's in pretty much public health. I mean, she wants to be an occupational therapist, but I know a little bit about flu and cold and such through that, or she does, and so kind of learn a little bit through it nonetheless. But as I was saying, inflammation and irritation in your throat, and so to compensate and kind of soothe it, your mouth kind of generates more saliva, so that innately makes you want to swallow more, but that just kind of creates this negative feedback loop where it just kind of hurts every single time to swallow. And so wasn't drinking enough fluids, wasn't getting enough recovery, didn't take care of myself nearly as much as I should have. And I still went to work on that Friday, and probably should have stayed home. And I still worked out Friday too, and I definitely should have not done that. But again, c'est la vie. I learned from these mistakes, and as I am kind of anticipating this to be a bit awkward, and I don't know how I'm going to fit this into the rest of the timeline, but I'm learning as I'm going, and that's the point. And I really want to give myself the allowance to be bad at this and eventually get better at it. So just like with that, same thing with fitness. My ego was hurt because my VO2 went down a point, and so I wanted to get it back up, and I think I might have done that prematurely, and now I'm pretty much paying for it. And so with that, I am now postponed even more, and the understanding of how I should have been taking my recovery is now pretty much doubled, because thank God I understand now what I kind of have to do, but it's taking more time than necessary. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what else I really wanted to talk more about. I'm kind of doing this as like a off rip kind of thing. I don't really have a script for this because I don't want it to be scripted. So yeah, I mean, I'm at 8 minutes and 40 seconds with the footage that I have now. So with this, this little monologue, I hope I kind of get a little bit more of it. But, tomorrow's a new week, the 12th. I actually have an interview with my full-time position. So now I am still working as an intern at the office that I was like pretty much all of undergrad. And the cool thing about them is that they said that I could stay pretty much until I get a full-time position elsewhere, or until HR pretty much asks for my evidence of continuation of education, right? So typically once a semester, HR would ask us like, hey, can you submit an unofficial transcript kind of showing us that you're still enrolled in an engineering program? And so the past couple semesters they haven't done it, but I don't want to kind of bank on that happening. So yeah, so I mean, Lord willing, if that job's for me, then it's for me, and if it's not, it's not. I also have so a bit of backstory of what I work in and what I aspire to be working in. So I studied engineering, more particularly mechanical engineering in college. However, I minored in project management, and I took a couple of environmental engineering classes as electives. When I interned with my professor my freshman year of college, he is a PhD in environmental engineering, and the research that I did for him was pretty much using cow manure or other agricultural wastes as renewable energy sources. And so that was pretty cool. I didn't want to work in cow manure and renewable energy of that sort in particular, but civil engineering and environmental engineering definitely did pique my interest. And had I known more about all of the different types of engineering and such during high school, I probably would have picked a different university, but everything works out as it should. So I'm not going to get into that, but nonetheless, so I studied engineering. I interned with my professor my freshman year, like I said, and through him, I actually got my current internship, which is for the state of California. It's the State Water Resources Control Board, Division of Drinking Water. Say that 5 times fast. And so that is it's water resource engineering, and so it's a lot of regulatory stuff. It's a lot of reporting and data monitoring and Excel sheets. And so that specific type of engineering isn't necessarily what I'm after, which is kind of good, which I'll get into now. It's because that's a lot, like I said, it's a lot more regulatory. So it's a lot of sitting at your desk, kind of not doing much engineering work. I would make the argument that the majority of the work that the engineers at my particular office do is not engineering per se. Now, under that same umbrella, so it's the entire state. I actually, I was blessed with an opportunity to interview for a position up in Monterey County, and there's 2 new, they call them districts. So every county has a district, but depending on the size of the county and how many water systems are being pretty much monitored by the county, they'll add or subtract pretty much positions. And so they're actually adding 2 new districts to Monterey County, and I'm, Lord willing, I actually get one of those positions. But the position that I'm after is a lot of more consolidation practices. So in layman terms, the state oversees public water systems, but the county often also does. So separate counties in and of themselves will operate and not operate, but pretty much have water systems under their jurisdiction. And depending on what they classify as or what kind of criteria they meet or fail to meet, they will pretty much dump those water systems over to the state. And so that's why those 2 new districts are being added on to Monterey County, is because the county of Monterey kind of dumped these water systems onto the state. And so it's quite a bit. It was like 280 systems. And so the district and the position that I'm out for is a lot of consolidation work. So a lot of these new systems are very small systems that pretty much have like 1-2 service connections. So a service connection is just an outlet of wherever water comes out of. And a lot of those systems don't qualify as public water systems, but they also don't meet the criteria of the county. So the cool thing is a lot of consolidation might be taking place. And so, yeah, if you kind of know what consolidation just means in general, basically a lot of these water systems have the potential to plug into bigger water systems of that county. And so that is a lot more heavy civil work. That's a lot more kind of hands-on, project scope, project management, looking at blueprints and designs and working with the contractors and being outside. So that's a lot more up my alley and what I want to do. And so, you know, Lord willing, I actually do get that. And, you know, I'd be happy to, but an opportunity also presented itself with the, so, if you guys don't know, I mean, from my previous videos, but I'm from Bakersfield. And so Shafter is right here. I mean, we're neighbors. We're touching literally the border of the two cities. And so the city of Shafter is hiring an engineer, and city jobs are a lot broader because it entails everything that the city kind of goes under. So it can be transportation, it could be water resourcing, it could be, you know, surveying, landscape stuff, building codes. It's a plethora of things. It's an umbrella of all the engineering that pretty much takes place within the city. And so that's a lot closer to home. And so I've been having these pros and cons of the two. I mean, pro of Monterey, for instance. I've lived at home my entire life. I've lived here in the Central Valley my entire life. I would love to, you know, venture out and kind of conquer my own kingdom, because I mean, my brother went down south to San Diego. That's also where my girlfriend's going to. I mean, well, San Marcos is where she's going for grad school, but I'd love to go out and venture on my own and experience life on my own and fending for myself and conquering my own kingdom before settling down and getting married to my girlfriend. And so the con of Monterey, like I said, is being able to do that. I mean, pro is being able to do that. Con is the expense of living there. So, I mean, the median household income, or the average median income, is like, I know 80% to 120% is what qualifies as moderate income. Assistance is pretty much what I'd be applying towards for rental assistance up there. And it's crazy to say assistance because 80% to 120% is literally like 86,000 to 125,000, something like that. Don't quote me on that, but probably pop up something here. But so, you know, I mean, that's pretty much the range in where I could, you know, make money, sure. But it's crazy to think that that's still under the, like, I could still get rental assistance pretty much doing that, which is crazy to think about. But so I'd have to pretty much operate under that umbrella. And so even then I kind of did the math preemptively, and I was a bit conservative on everything. So I put like the max amount of rent that I probably could pay. I added more groceries. I added a more expensive gym membership and everything like that. And I wouldn't be saving nearly as much as I'm saving even now as an intern living at home, obviously. And so that's a huge con. Obviously, being away from home is a con in essence, because, you know, I have no safety net. Like, I'm really fending for myself, and I'd be taking care of my dog by myself too. One of the cool things about you know, living at home is that sometimes if I'm in a hurry, my mom will help feed my dog. You know, if I have to leave for work a bit earlier, if I'm out for an inspection or what, so on and so forth. And so, yeah. And so on the contrary, the Shafter job would provide me, sure, having to stay home. But the wage is actually very comparable to that of a Monterey job. So I would be making the same amount of money in a much lesser cost of living circumstance. And so the goal for that would be to actually save enough money to actually buy a home. So again, kind of doing the math and being a bit conservative, so getting paid the least amount that I probably could get paid based on the position and my experience, so the very least amount, I still could save a good amount of money to basically put down about 10 to 15% of some homes out there in Shafter. And then after that, basically save more money than I do currently now living at home as an intern, but being a homeowner. So that's a huge pro. Con is, I mean, still being in the Central Valley. I know I'm 24, so it doesn't mean if I buy a home here, it's like our forever home. It's not. It's just a piece of real estate that I want to be able to kind of get into and eventually just have it be part of my portfolio. That could be a whole video in and of itself probably later, but I feel like I'm dragging this on. I'm looking at it. I'm already like 26 minutes. It's crazy. I'll edit it down, but nonetheless, yeah. So I mean, you know, I haven't prayed much about it as I probably should be, but I'll definitely be praying about it. You know, today and tomorrow before my interview on Tuesday. You know, I'll be sure to probably get some videos of that. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, this is the first one. I don't really want to have this awkward outro, so you know, if you guys ever heard of an Irish goodbye,